We have a real issue of police brutality in this country. Or I should say, we have a police problem in this country, and it's been around for a good number of years. Now, these past two shootings over the past 5 days really give me some perspective over our law enforcement in this country. Now, we have your first shooting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, of Alton Sterling, and then you had the most recent shooting, which was, I believe, yesterday in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, of a man named Philando Castile. Now, with Alton Sterling, regardless of what the facts may have been, what did he have a firearm in his pocket? Yes. But when a man is down on the floor, there's only so much he can do. Plus, if you look at the positioning that he was on the floor, there's no way he could have reached, got a firearm to where he could have used it to defend himself. That was a public execution. Also, the people recording, had they just kept the camera on what transpired when the shooting occurred, not afterwards, after you saw the blood everywhere and he was convulsing on the floor, we could have seen what truly happened. Because you're my eyewitness. You have the full footage of when the altercation transpired and when it started, but when the shots started to ring out, you turned the camera away. Now, granted, fear does play a huge factor where you don't want to get shot. I understand that. But if you're recording something like this and you're going to release it to the public, to where millions and millions of people can see it, you cannot leave gray areas. The next shooting being in Falcon Heights, man got pulled over for a stoplight. His headlights, or I should say his backlights, were out. He gets stopped. He informed, according to what his girlfriend in the car said on her video, he informed the police he does have a firearm. However, his wallet is inside that glove compartment as well. So he reaches for his ID and gets shot in the arm, ultimately bleeds out and dies right there in the car. Now, I'll say this about police. I don't have this huge issue with police. I don't. Do I have friends who's police officers? I just got one. But they have way too many police officers on the force who have no business being there. Number one, I look at working as a law enforcement officer. I believe you should be trained like, not necessarily how the military is trained, but you have to have at least some sort of people skills to where you can communicate before having to physically respond to situations. Two, why is it these police officers are so quick to pull for their weapon? Granted, your life is on the line every day when you do this job. But you can't have a ton of these police officers where their first instinctual reaction to anything is to grab their weapon and pull it out. Granted, you could have hit the man with a taser if you believed he was this big of a threat. But you shot him. I already spoke about fat cops before. That has nothing to do with this situation, but I have issues with fat cops. If you're a police officer, I believe you should be in the shape of an athlete. But when it comes down to these officers who are so quick to shoot, and mind you, I just want to pull up some stats for you. This year alone, the police have killed 532 people. The Guardian, the police killings database, they stated that about 580 people were killed by police this year. Well, I shouldn't say killed, but died at the hands of police. So there are those who were restrained and they ended up going to the hospital and died at that point. So they weren't killed on the scene, but ultimately the police were involved in their death. You have 488 people who were shot and killed by the cops. If you want to talk about race, black people, they're killing white people. Police officers are killing more white people than they are killing black people. So we can't say they're walking around targeting us. Granted, we have a smaller percentage, so that number looks way bigger than it's supposed to actually look. So I understand that. But let's talk about one thing, because I'm one of those individuals where people who say Black Lives Matter, here's where my issue is. In Chicago alone, we have had over 2,000 people shot by black individuals. Over 300 people have been killed by black individuals. Black on black crime. 343 homicides. In one city. We're not even talking about the entire state of Illinois. We're talking about one city. So when black people walk around and we say, Black Lives Matter, who's going to take us seriously if we don't value our own lives? Who kills us in higher percentages than us? We do. We do the killing of ourselves. So when you want to fix the issue of police, your first thing that you need to do is call out bullshit when you see it. Because you can't be the guy who's always on the sideline screaming at police, saying you're killing all of our people. When you see a brother down the block who done shot and killed numerous black men, and you say nothing. But when a police officer does it, that's when you have an issue. So what we need to do, number one, I'm not going to say unify with everybody, because I understand when you have jackasses amongst you, you cannot unify with those individuals. But it's about time you take back your streets. There's no reason why you should have a drug dealer, why you should have a murderer, why you should have gangs in your neighborhood and you stay silent about it. Granted, if they're doing something like that, they're hustling, you value your own life, no problem. But if you allow them to exist in your neighborhoods, you're no better. You're no better than they are. Because I understand you don't trust your law enforcement. You don't. But if you cannot regulate, if you cannot contain these individuals, they're going to still go around and continue to kill people. You're giving the cops an out. I'm not saying to carry a firearm. I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment. I believe everybody should actually have a firearm. Because if everybody's armed, nobody has to worry about people being unarmed. If 10 people inside of a room have a gun, you walk inside with a gun, you shoot one person, you're guaranteed to at least got one shot off, but you're not guaranteed to walk away with your life. That's the issues that I have with these gun laws that we're going to have now, where people are saying unarm everybody. So now if the police are the only individuals with a gun, how can you defend yourself if a situation like this arises? Number one, you live inside of a neighborhood. If there's a police department there, you get to know all of those officers. You do. You get to know all of those officers. See where they are mentally. So if you know who these people are mentally, if you know who they are physically, you know their families, you can at least make a report and say, that guy's a little bit unstable. I don't trust that police officer. These three over here, they're good, but I don't trust that one over there. If you don't know who these people are, and they just walk in, they have no ties to you. They don't care who you are. They have family at home. So their excuse is, oh, he has a gun, he's going to shoot me. So I'm going to kill him first. And then immediately after they kill him, they go into this whole, oh, I didn't mean to do it. They cry, all this bullshit, they get off. We should hold police to a higher standard when we look at these shootings. But us as individuals, anybody who gets shot for no damn reason, we need to put them all in the same boat. We should have higher sentences for police, because if you shoot a cop, that's a capital crime. So if a cop shoots you, in reverse, we should call that a capital crime as well. Because although your responsibility may be higher, you being a enforcer of the law, but if you enforce that law in the wrong ways and you go around and you shoot people for no apparent reason, you should be on trial for capital murder as well. I done went all over the place with this because I have so many thoughts running in my mind. Can't really stay on one set topic, but I'll keep it at this. I'll close like this. This is my message to black people. It's about time you focus your outrage. Whenever somebody gets shot by the cops, you continually focus on the person rather than the situation. Don't come out and say this person was an angel, they never did anything wrong. That's irrelevant. That doesn't matter. What happened was this individuals, both of them, were executed live on camera. The second one, it was the aftermath. But you look at your Eric Gardner's, murdered on camera. Your Oscar Grant's, murdered on camera. Things like this, where you have your shootings of Abner Louima, where he was inside. Well, he wasn't really shot, but he was sodomized when he was inside of the when he was incarcerated. He was sodomized. You had your Amadou Diallo, 41 times he was shot. You got your Mike Brown. Things like that. Where the situations, I don't necessarily agree with all that happened. When we have your outrage there, when we say the Mike Brown shooting and all that other stuff, the facts leading to what happened with the shootings, I'm not really a huge defender of the individuals who got shot because I'm a logician. So I look at the facts. But when we look at outrage, when we're dealing with outrage and people being upset what happened, focus on what happened. The man was laying on the floor, he got shot, executed right there. Your issue, you keep it there. When you see individuals on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, black people, they're so ready to attack, kill, maim, no matter what you want to call it, over some Jordans, or words that were said over the internet, or sleeping with somebody's girl, or taking somebody's man, or ripping somebody's weave. No matter what you want to call it, black people are so ready to kill other blacks over the smallest things. But these same black individuals always are the first ones to come out and scream, saying the police are killing us, but you don't do nothing. Now, I'm not telling you, go out and shoot any police officer you see, any police officer that you see. Because there was a situation last year, or I believe 2 years ago, where there was 2 cops in New York shot, executed by one guy. And there were some people talking about, yeah, man, ooh, that's what you got to do, kill those cops. No, those cops were innocent. Don't go out and shoot those cops. The ones who are out here killing you, your Darren Wilsons, your officers who just shot Alton Sterling, and the other guy from Minnesota, I forget his name, it'll come to me after. Those officers, they need to be dealt with. I'm not telling you go find them and murder them. I'm just saying, if they turn up dead, I understand. So, if we have this huge issue with these officers, there's no reason why they should be walking around right now. If you were this big thug, this big gangster, why these guys walking around? Huh? Why is it Darren Wilson is still on the street somewhere? Let's not even talk about the police. Why is George Zimmerman still walking around here? We were so upset, so unified for Trayvon. But this man, he's on eBay selling guns. Gun that he done shot somebody with. If I was Trayvon's father, George Zimmerman's dead. There's certain lines you don't cross. It's about time we start being about the shit that we talk about, man. It's ridiculous that we walk around here, we say, oh, we hard, all this other stuff, and these individuals are still alive.